right now.
Some precipitation out there. I think a lot of people.
Right there. You see that?
Whoa, a close call this morning on those icy roads.
If you weren't watching our coverage, this happened live on the air this morning. Saw a car careening into some guys already on the side of the road and then back out into traffic. This Arctic blast settling over the Alamo City, leading to icy roads, lots of wrecks like that, and temperatures we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, fortunately, nobody was hurt in that incident. But this noon, we have meteorologist Justin Horn tracking the cold weather, and RJ Marquez is going to have a look at the roads, give us an update on what's going on out there.
But first, let's go over to Justin Horn.
Yeah, it's just a few days ago. It felt pretty nice outside, and now we're at 24. It's cold. That cold air really shifted in yesterday, and it is felt just bitter cold today. On top of that, we got a little bit of precipitation late last night into this morning. It wasn't much. Honestly, it did not amount to much at all, but it was enough to get those roads slick and icy, and as you saw there, causing some issues on the highways and byways this morning. The radar and satellite showing that all that precipitation is moving away. We still got a lot of cloud cover, though, and these clouds are going to stick around a while longer. It's going to take until late this afternoon before we get any clearing, and that's a big if. I do think we eventually clear out tonight. But as long as these clouds are around, it's going to be chilly, and so temperatures just won't be able to warm much. We've seen the live cam kind of thaw out left to right here. We had a big patch of ice on it earlier, but it's kind of finally melting at least a little bit. Temperatures 24 at the airport, but it feels like 14. 24 in New Braunfels feels like 11. This is an improvement, believe it or not. Wind chill values were in the single digits a little bit earlier this morning. But around the area, mostly in the teens now, and you'll see these wind chill values come up a little bit more during the afternoon, maybe in the 20 to 25 degree range. Still, it's going to be cold. Noontime 25 by this afternoon. I think we're lucky to get up to freezing again. We may see a few breaks in the clouds, and then tonight temperatures will fall off. Once those skies clear, we'll get these numbers to fall rather quickly. And the other side to all this, we're going to get some very gusty winds by tomorrow morning, which means wind chill values are going to be brutal, below zero in some cases. We're going to talk more about that coming up in just a bit. We'll go over to RJ now with a look at the roads. So busy this morning, RJ. Is it getting better?
Yeah, very busy. And I mean, going back to that video, we saw TxDOT crews were out there. So if you do see those crews out there, make sure to give them room to do their work. I mean, a very scary situation there that fortunately did not end up with any major injuries and no major crashes there. So the big crash that we were following throughout the morning was right here behind me, Loop 410 at WW White. And we had a jackknife 18-reeler that had shut down the southbound lanes of 410 for miles as trans guy just went dark on us there. But we do see now that traffic is moving in this area. It was shut down there for about a good 5 hours or so. So that's some good news there. The rest of the city, we do see things that have cleared out for the most part. That one video that we showed you with that car that kind of spun out of control there for a little bit, that was south of downtown. There was a lot of activity on the south and southeast parts of the San Antonio area on 37, on 410. That precipitation seemed to have kind of snuck up on people there. So fortunately, things have been cleared out for the most part in those in that area, south and southeast side. We do have a crash being reported right now on the westbound lanes of 1604 at Braun Avenue. So something to keep in mind if you're headed out to the west and the far northwest side. And one quick thing here, we were talking earlier about ice accumulation. That has been mostly cleared out in these parts closer to the inner parts of San Antonio. But if you look here, TxDOT is still reporting that they're still seeing some bit of ice there from Bernie all the way to Bulverde. So if you're on 46 or have to head up in the hill country, just kind of keep that in mind. But again, for the most part, guys, things are looking pretty good out there. It was a very, very busy morning. If you want to kind of get a recap of all this, go to KSAT12, and we've had a lot of different things and videos, pictures to show you right there. David and Ursula, back to you guys.
Thank you, RJ. Matter of fact, we're going to have some more of that for you on the KSAT12 News at noon coming up in the next half hour. But in the meantime, the San Antonio MLK March prides itself being the largest in the country, and due to the weather, it was canceled this year. It was the first postponed to try to outlast the cold conditions, but early this morning, the city and MLK Commission decided it was just not safe.
Max Massey with how this game time decision came to be made, leaving Pittman Sullivan Park empty on a day when it's normally hosting a huge crowd.
Safety. Wanted to make sure every San Antonian, every person that was going to be participating in the march was safe.
Dwayne Robinson is the chair of the ML Commission, and he tells me it was actually feedback from community members that prompted this outcome.
Got a call about 4 or 5 in the morning, and one of our members said that their street was completely covered in ice. And that street was MLK Drive, and that's the route. If you could not be safe on the route, then we were not going to have the march.
We're here in the middle of Pittman Sullivan Park, usually an integral part of the MLK Day March, but today it is empty, it is cold, and it is icy.
Given that we did not make that final decision until 6 o'clock this morning, that the single most important thing we needed to do was protect people and make sure that they didn't come out. And I'm pleased, as I was over at the Martin Luther King Academy this morning, I didn't see one soul. So that told me hopefully everyone was at home, safe and warm.
Yes, the march is canceled, and as of last check, there's no talk of rescheduling it. But it is important to remember the true meaning of today. And in terms of the commission, they still hosted events through the weekend, and they were able to raise a lot of funds to help our community.
Last year, we gave out roughly $190,000 in scholarships. I would suspect we'll be right at that number again this year, despite having to cancel the march.
Max Massey, KSAT12 News.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Good for them. But that said, it's going to be cold all day, and that means that people are going to be turning their heaters up. They're asking, ERCOT is asking customers to do exactly the opposite and start conserving energy, however. Take a look at this. These are the current electric grid conditions according to ERCOT's website.
Now, over there on your left side of the screen, you can see a chart that's got ERCOT's forecasted demand and capacity. The capacity is in purple, the demand is in teal. So far, it seems the grid will be able to handle the demand at least today. But we'll find out what it looks like coming up tomorrow.
In a tweet, ERCOT said that it expects similar conditions tomorrow, but so far it has not called for Texans to conserve energy like they did today. However, it's weather worth watching, and our weather watch remains in effect through Wednesday. As a reminder, there are some suggestions from ERCOT on ways you can conserve energy. You can lower your thermostat by just a degree or two, turn off or unplug non-essential lights and appliances. You can set your ceiling fans on reverse to recirculate the heat that builds up near the ceiling.
And thankfully, we have not seen a lot of widespread outages today. We did see an outage on the west side earlier this morning. That's what it looked like. More than 2,000 customers without power, this over by SeaWorld.
Now, one school district has already decided to cancel classes tomorrow. Goliad ISD will be closed on Tuesday. That's according to the district superintendent. Many schools were already out for the MLK Day. However, others are closed or delayed because of the weather, and that includes Blanco, Sabinal, Dose, Karnes City, Kennedy, and Poth ISD. They're all closed. Falls City CISD and Lavernia also closed. We're going to let you know about any more districts if they make some decisions about tomorrow. But so far, again, we've only heard from Goliad in regard to tomorrow being closed. If you're having trouble staying warm, we do have places you can go and a free way to get there. The city has opened warming centers, and the doors are open right now. 14 facilities are open until 5 o'clock this evening, and they include some libraries and community centers. You can see a full list on KSAT.com or scan the QR code on your screen. VIA passengers may travel fare-free to or from these locations. The city is also offering something called resilience hubs. They are different from warming centers because they also provide some basic supplies as well as the shelter from the cold. And if you need someplace overnight, Haven for Hope offering shelter through the night. We have a list of all those locations and services as well on our website. Again, all you have to do is scan this QR code and go to this story on KSAT.com.
The cold didn't stop a crime. San Antonio police are investigating a shooting on the city's southeast side that sent one woman to the hospital. SAPD says 2 or 3 people were trying to break into a car on Hatcher Avenue. That's near Pecan Valley and I-37. It was going on early this morning. We were told when the suspects saw a woman watching them through the window of a house near that car, they shot at her. The woman was hit by gunfire but taken to the hospital. She's expected to be okay. The suspects ran off.
San Antonio fire crews working to figure out what sparked this small house fire on the city's south side. The flames spotted in the attic of the home. It's in the 200 block of St. Francis Avenue, south of downtown. That fire put out quickly. No injuries reported. For now, the people who live there will need to find another place to stay.
Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott able to get to the Cowboys to the playoffs in another major letdown. Coming up.
Even though the MLK March did not take place today, there are still lots of ways to commemorate the day. The other ways to honor Dr. King during DreamWeek still ahead.
In observance of MLK holiday, City Hall and most municipal offices will be closed today. Public safety and emergency services will remain in operation, though.
All trash and recycling collections are going to be pushed back a day this week. San Antonio Public Libraries, along with all the Metro Health clinics, will be closed.
You can find a full list of closures on our website, KSAT12.
Unfortunately, the MLK March was canceled today.
But it's just one of more than 200 events featured as part of DreamWeek. That kicked off Friday and it'll continue through January 28th.
Digital journalist Mason Hickok takes a look at why it's so important.
It's all about creating an environment where every single person is considered a genius.
Shokare Nakpodia was inspired to create DreamWeek more than a decade ago after attending San Antonio's annual MLK March.
And we decided to maybe think about a way to extend that feeling of community that the march represents.
Nakpodia says San Antonio has responded so well to DreamWeek that every year new events are created.
We call it the largest community curated event of its kind in the nation, possibly the world.
DreamWeek events are not just for adults, but also aim to inspire the next generation to find their voice.
We want to make sure that we do not dismiss the possibility of having a new MLK in a 12-year-old child on the south side. We want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to share their voices. If you want to experience something that you would never experience anywhere else, you need to come to DreamWeek. If you want to find yourself, find your voice, be part of the community, I mean, really feel alive within a community, even if it's only for this brief duration you're here to visit, come to DreamWeek.
For more information on the hundreds of events happening this year, go to KSAT.com. Mason Hickok, KSAT 12 News.
Taking a look outside with live cam. It does not look like a great day to get out and about. In fact, we're going to caution you against it.
Well, yeah, the precipitation this morning, it wasn't very heavy, but as we've been saying, it was just enough to put a glaze on the roads, and they were bad this morning. They are better now. We've had the wind kind of dry things out a little bit, but still, be cautious out there. The aquifer, interestingly enough, went down 0.6 of a foot to 638.5, and in your pollen count, look at this. Look what this wet weather and cold weather did to Mount Cedar. It's almost gone. It's at 20. No one's complaining there, but this cold weather is going to make a big impact, especially tomorrow morning. We've got more on that forecast coming up.
So if you're not from around here, welcome to winter South Texas style.
It's going to last for a few days, and then we'll be back in the 80s in about a week. Don't worry about it.
No big deal, right?
Yeah, this is it.
This is pretty cold for us, so I will say
is.
that. This is the coldest we've been since Christmas Eve of last year, so it's been a little over a year since we've seen temperatures like this, but we're going to get some bitter cold mornings, and that's why we've been stressing the whole pipes, plants, pets, people. Yeah, don't forget about your neighbors. If someone doesn't have heat right now, bring them in. Because this is dangerous once we get into temperatures like this. I want to show you a picture on KSAT Connect. We got a ton of good pictures in, but this one's interesting. During the summer, people always crack eggs on the sidewalk and cook them. Well, this is the inverse of that. It's a frozen egg. Looks like they stuck it outside, and that's interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen that, but that is an interesting way to show just how cold it is out there. We appreciate you sending that in, Sandy. Let's take a look at the satellite picture here. So our precipitation has moved away. It's moved east of here, but we've still got a lot of cloud cover. And that's going to stick around for a while. The question will be, do we see this clearing line getting anywhere near San Antonio? I think it'll be hard for that to happen during the day. Now, tonight we are expecting to see some clearing, and that actually will help temperatures fall. In the meantime, I know these numbers are kind of hard to see, but this is the current temperature, 24 here in San Antonio. There is sun in Del Rio, so notice what that is doing to temperatures. 32 there. 24 Kennedy, 23 Gonzales, 22 Austin. It is cold no matter where you go. And around Bexar County, mainly mid-20s here. 23 Helotes, 26 right now, Port SA. Our forecast today, noontime 27. And then we should get up close to freezing. And again, it's dependent on whether or not we see at least a little bit of sun. If we don't, we could stay right below that mark. Regardless, again, it's cold. And then once we do get the clearing tonight, then those temperatures just plummet. This is the wind chill forecast. So right now we've got wind chills around 10 degrees or so. And by noontime, gets a little bit better, a little bit warmer. By the afternoon, we're talking wind chills in the 20s. But what happens later tonight is we get stronger winds coming in, another push of kind of cold air, and that's going to really push these wind chills down. So this is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is what it feels like. -5 Bernie, -7 in Kerrville, 2. That's it here in San Antonio. So as you go back to work and school tomorrow, and that is a big question, by the way, are we going to have school tomorrow? Look, that's not my decision, but what I'll tell you is that a lot of the precipitation, a lot of the kind of the slick spots probably go away. Can't guarantee that we're not going to see a few linger, but we're not expecting any more precipitation. Again, that's the school thing's not my decision, but that's just the way the forecast looks. With that being said, so if you are going back to work and school tomorrow morning, bundle those kids up. Maybe they want 2 jackets because these wind chills will not be fun in the morning. It'll be blustery. It will be cold because these winds will jump up. And we'll see those winds anywhere, I think, from 30 to maybe 35 miles per hour during the morning time. And those gusts will just make that wind chill feel all that much worse. Big picture here, still some lingering frozen precipitation. Houston east into Louisiana this morning. But most of it is trying to move out of Texas, and then you see that strip of wintry weather, Memphis up to the nation's capital, just north of Atlanta with snow there. The wind chill values, earlier it was -58. That's what it felt like in Cut Bank. It's improved some. It feels like -21 there. But across the state of Texas, wind chill values are in the single digits. We did have some negatives earlier. And I always think this is interesting. Notice how the cold air just kind of banks up against the mountains. So Marfa, not all that bad there. Cold air hasn't really settled in. It's at a little higher elevation. So, but the rest of Texas, yes, is very, very cold. That includes us. So our forecast, 34 tomorrow, 46 on Wednesday. There's the warm up. But the morning's 18 tomorrow, 19 Wednesday morning. That is pipe bursting weather, as we've been saying. It does improve some. We get 66 Thursday, but another front comes through and knocks us back down. 48 Friday, and by the weekend, 40s and 50s, and maybe a small rain chance, guys.
Okay, Justin, we're warned. We're ready.
That Cowboys dream season turned into a nightmare by a bunch of cheeseheads.
Aww.
Yeah, the Texans may be the Texas team of destiny. Coming up.